Hi again and welcome. In this video you'll see a battle report from my last game of the Swedish Masters tournament against a beast herd army. For those of you who have followed my latest videos, you might now realize that the fourth game of the tournament is missing. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, me and my opponent had to start the fourth game already late the first day of the tournament and then finish it on the next morning. And because of the time pressure, we didn't prioritize putting up the camera and so forth. Nonetheless, I can tell you a bit of the game, and it was against Sylvan Elves, and me and my opponent were tied for the lead, and this is what it looked like when the game ended. His army were all run around and shoot stuff with 4 units of 10 Grove Guards, 2 Eagles, 2 Sentinel units with True Flight, 2 units of Pathfinders, 2 5s of Wild Riders, 2 5s of Sisters with Throwing Weapon, and a level 4 with Essence of a Free Mind, and a BSB with Hail of Doom. In hindsight, I realized that I totally had the wrong approach to begin with, as I deployed with a very small front on my blocks, which enabled him to easily run between and around. I tried to push for one of his flanks, but in turn 1 both my shade units were gone, even though they had a hardcover buff and their ordinary skirmish rule. Turn 2 he had taken all my raiders. In turn 3 I got to kill both his eagles, and in turn 4 my coursers got combo charged by Wild Riders and Sisters and got run down, while my guards and Cauldron charged 2 Grove Guards units off the board. So the last 2 turns I tried to save as many guards as possible, and some survived, but the Cauldron didn't, so it ends as you see it, an 18-2 loss, with my guards and my remaining characters hiding behind an impossible in his deployment zone. This was not my proudest moment, and I did several bad calls, but either way I would have had a really hard time winning even if I had played well this game. So coming into game 5 then, I have no big hopes of placing at the very top, but there is still a small chance if the Sylvan Elves player would have a huge loss, but that doesn't seem very likely. So over to the game, and it was, as I said, against beast herds. After a while during the deployment I decided to take the first turn and deploy 2 raider units on the left flank, the other behind the hill, my coursers on the right, and the guards behind the hill too. Since you don't have any shooting, I go for more flexibility and placed Altar and Master alone this game. He puts a bunch of core chariots on the left, on his left, together with a character in a chariot who gives them vanguard. 2 Jabberslythes behind the hill, some dogs, and the chariot Death Star in the middle, some pigs and spawns on the right. I think there is 1 pig among the core chariots too, if I remember correctly. My scouts go on the left, while one of his is right between our main units. He also have a bunch of ambushing ungors. For magic he has a level 4 nature, but lucky for me he didn't get the dweller spell. I got all the shadow hex spells and Mind Razor, molten metal on my level 1. So before we began I was very worried about how to deal with his chariots with the extra charge totem and so forth. But my thinking is that if I can deal with his stuff separately, my guards should be able to stand a chariot charge if they have to. In the vanguard, he moves up his left, and I move up on my left. My corsairs use the vanguard to back up instead. So, turn 1, and I don't move much, and in the magic I miasma his Death Star's movement. In the shooting phase I have a bit of luck and actually kill 2 spawns. When it's his turn, he moves to block my rightmost raiders with his skirmish ungors, and all his chariots move up a bit, and his Jabberslythe come out of hiding. He also moves up his dogs, and in his magic he gets the extra d6 charge totem off on both the Death Star unit and one of the Jabberslythes. With his left facing straight ahead, I see an opportunity to get at his Death Star without interference, and with some luck even get charged by overrunning from the dogs. So in my turn I charge the dogs with my guards, and he holds. By maximizing to the left I need an 8-inch overrun to get into the chariots, which can go my way. I move my raiders around a bit, one on the hill and another facing the back of his army. My master also moves up to flank his Death Star, and my shade faces the last spawn. In the magic phase I lower the strength of his character unit. In combat the dogs go poof and I overrun, but don't roll high enough to reach the chariots, unfortunately. So over to his charges. He get 2 out of 4 chariot into the corsairs, his character bus into the guards, and the Jabberslythe into my altar. In the magic phase I don't think he gets anything through, and shooting kills a shade, it seems. In combat my altar beats the Jabberslythe and run it down, which causes one of the core chariots to panic. I lose a bunch of tower guards and a bunch of corsairs too, and I give some wounds back on his characters, who all have the 1+ armor save and 4+ sword or 4+ reg. I lose the combat against the characters, but being stubborn there is no trouble. And likewise for the corsairs, they also lose combat, but they too are stubborn due to steadfast, so no trouble there either. So, turn 3, and I charge the master and also my altar into the flanks of the character bus, and a raider unit in the last non-committed chariot, and 1 chained unit on a ungor unit who decides to flee. In the magic phase I get Mind Razor off on the guards. My opponent is now on the verge of giving up, so we jump directly to the combat, where I kill 1 hero and the BSB from the character bus. Since there is a small chance he might turn this around and that the points can affect the tournament outcome, he decides to go on, so we continue to the combat, where my raiders kill the chariot, which caused the lone chariot character to panic, and then we go back to the shooting phase, which we skipped, and I got a wound on the last spawn. In his turn his pig charged my raiders who flee, then his last Jabberslythe charged the flank of my guards. In his shooting he kills 2 raiders, and over to combat my master gives a wound to the Lord, and with a whip of subversion he is now not allowed to strike back. My other attacks kills his wizard on the chariot, and the Jabberslythe kill my level 1. I win combat, so the Jabberslythe breaks, but the Lord sticks. My shades kill the spawn, and my Corsairs manage to kill a Chariot, and the other one breaks and gets away. So, over to turn 4, and I charge his last core Chariot off the board, and I also charge the Jabberslythe, who does not get away this time. Now it's enough, and my opponent have no hope left, so we call it, and it's a clear 20-0 to me. Can't say much about the game, but that everything went according to plan, and some of his choices made it go even smoother this time. So this was the last game, and I felt that I played well overall during the tournament, and took the advantages I got. I was a bit bummed out by some of the mistakes that, for example, cost me much of the game against the dwarves. But against the Sylvan Elves, I felt that I had not much of a chance winning to begin with. And it was also that army that won it all. You could say it was. He played it very well, the Sylvan Elves player, and the army in itself was one level of optimizing more than the rest of the armies you have seen. I ended third best general, and with the overall points it bumped me up to second place in the tournament, and I had a really good weekend, and it was fun to play a 9th age tournament. About my army, it was a bit too much on the fluffy side to be competitive like for example the Sylvan army. But since the 9th age update has boosted the Corsairs a little, I will probably continue with an army much like this for a while more. Well, that's all for this video and the Swedish Masters, and I think there will be some casual game videos for the nearest future, since it seems to be like half a year until the next tournament I will be able to go to. So until then, good luck with your gaming.